So here's what prompted the whole need for this project. Needed to change out the transmission mount there, and the Jeep has a 4-inch lift and already had these 1.5-inch spacers dropping the skid plate down. But Lord knows how long they've been on there, and what happened was when I took them off, 2 of the bolts came off, 1 was already missing, and then the other 3, the heads just snapped off the bolts. So I take my recip saw and cut off the bolts from the frame, use my angle grinder and grind off the pieces and get these old spacers off the skid plate. So first we put these caps on the end of each of the spacers. There's 2 links, and it says the shorter one is the passenger side. One thing about it is I set it on to kind of a test fit on the skid plate here, is that it doesn't say on the directions here whether to put the large holes up or the smaller holes up. I'm just going to have to assume, the thing that makes sense to me is the large holes up with the bolts through here, and that gives room for the NUTSERT in the frame right there. One thing that makes sense to me is that's why I want to do it. It's going to put the 4 nuts on the transmission mount, just barely, just enough where the skid plate won't fall on my head. Alright, I should keep from falling on my head anyway. Now I think I'm going to lower this jack down a smidge, because those should hold it. Yep. I think it left me enough slack here to get the spacers in here. Like that. The other side, put it there like that, I think. Let's go to the other side. Spacer roughly in here, skid plate, using the bolts and washers that came with the NUTSERT kit. Just going to kind of start them off here, and then go to the other side and do the same thing. I'm using this ratchet, so I don't want to risk cross-threading these bolts on the NUTSERTs. They seem to be doing okay without it, but just as a precaution, as an abundance of caution here, I want to use the old manual method here and do this by hand. I did use the impact to remove them, although as you saw, the bolts broke off. So far we're doing real well here. There's a little contact there on the middle one. I think I'll go to the other side and get at least one of them in contact before I go any further with these 2. So I'll point you over there and I'll be right back. So I dropped the transmission, took the bottle jack off of it, dropped the weight down. Now the bolts for the transmission mount stick through So that's a lot better. All the weight is now on the skid plate. And I think I will tighten these up a little bit and then come back and hit the skid plate mount bolts, get them good and tight. So the spec I believe on these is 50 foot-pounds. So there's that one. There's that one. All right, there's the passenger side. So here's what they look like all installed. I actually like the look better than the old spacers. The nice solid piece here, and not just the individual discs on there. To me, it looks nicer. It's not that big a deal on the old Jeep, but to me, it does look nicer. And here's the driver's side. Not sure how well you can see that, but we'll see.